Hey everyone, and welcome to 1.21 Gigawatts. I am Peter. That is Connor. It's not Matt. That's Connor. He's Ginger. Oh, this is a
Threw you
shock.
for a second there, didn't it?
This is awful. What's going on? Why are you here?
Start first one back this year, and you get this instead.
Yeah, actually, if you would have done, is Matt not doing 120? No, Matt's actually. I'm doing one with Matt in a few days. Don't worry, there's more Matt coming soon. But me and Connor just happened to both watch this movie, so we thought we'll talk about it and we'll discuss it. We're going to talk about Justice League Dark, which is the new DC animated movie from Warner Brothers. They pump out three, maybe four of these a year, depending.
I think it's about three normally.
Yeah. So this is Justice League Dark, and if you don't know what Justice League Dark is, it's basically all the magical characters forming a team. Although because DC don't trust that to do well, Batman's also there, just to make sure the sales happen.
Gotta have that Batman.
So as we always do, we'll start off spoiler free, and we'll give you some warning before we get into spoilers, about halfway through or so. But yeah, we're obviously both DC fans. We do a DC Comics podcast. We talk about the comics every week. Doing that later today, actually. And we, watch most of the DC shows. We talk about them on Almost Cancelled. So obviously, very much in our wheelhouse. This one's slightly in a weird place for me because I'm not a big magic part of the universe guy.
You're not, and that's not just specific to DC. You're just not big on magic in general.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that goes for most things. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I do like some things. Obviously, Swamp Thing pops up in this. I like Swamp Thing. Zatanna's pretty cool. I like Deadman. Let's be honest, it's just Constantine. I really don't like.
It is. You'll go through all these characters, and I'm like, you kind of just leave my boy Constantine here.
Yeah, it's just Constantine. I don't know. Speaking of Constantine, so let's talk a little bit about the cast, actually. We've got here doing voices. Constantine is voiced by Matt Ryan. Why is that notable? That is notable because he played Constantine in the short-lived NBC TV show from a couple of years ago. And I knew it was him immediately. I didn't know it was him before I watched it. It was just, I didn't really pay much attention. I put it in, watched, blah, blah, blah. And he started talking, I'm like, yep, that's that Welsh guy trying to sound English.
Yeah, I mean, he just sounds Welsh, let's be honest.
He does. He does. Now, for Americans, you probably didn't even notice the difference, but for anyone who's familiar with English accents, or just British accents, I guess, because obviously Wales is its own country, kind of. Technicality. I apologise to any Welsh people watching. It's just...
Hey, he's Scottish, he gets the same shit from me.
I do, but I feel like Wales gets the brunt of it. Wales gets the worst of it. Because if you go to America and you say... What comes to your mind when you say an English or England, and they'll say, oh, knights, suits of armour, the Queen, that kind of thing, maybe tea,
Yeah.
Say, what comes to mind when you say Scotland? Do you think, oh, kilts, bagpipes?
Haggis, probably.
I mean, I don't think, maybe they've heard of that, but I feel like kilts and that sort of stuff.
Kilts, definitely, yeah.
And bagpipes and that's, Braveheart, Highlander, all that kind of stuff. You say Ireland, they're like, oh, leprechauns, St. Paddy's Day, all that.
Just drinking in general.
But they all have distinct identities that I think people around the world identify with those countries.
Yeah, they have the big stereotypes, at least.
You say Wales, and they go,
huh? Yeah.
You mean like Free Willy? What? So... they get the brunt of it. But yeah, so he sounds obviously Welsh, and given that... I wouldn't mind that he doesn't sound... Because he's meant to be from Liverpool.
Yes.
And I don't mind that he doesn't sound like that. If he has a generic English accent, I'm cool with it. It's fine.
It's one of those I'm torn on, because I would love him to actually be Liverpudlian just once, but then I kind of hate that accent. So, because it's a really annoying accent, let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm cool with generic England. I wish they didn't... Well, in this movie they don't, but in the TV show they specifically said at one point, I'm from Liverpool, in his accent, and it was like...
I'm calling bullshit on that.
Nah, just say you're from London and do a generic accent.
Yeah.
That's fine. That I'm going to bother with me.
But in general, I think he's perfectly good, because he's a voice actor in general. Like, he's done a lot of voice work.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, he was the lead in one of the Assassin's Creed games.
Oh.
So yeah, so he's got some voice pedigree in there.
Speaking of people who do video games, Camilla Luddington is the voice of Zatanna. Now, if you don't know who that is, she did the voice of Lara Croft in the two new Tomb Raider games, and you wouldn't even recognise her voice because she's doing a different accent, because that was an English accent she had in that game. She should have been doing Constantine, because she can do one.
She can. She's pretty good.
Yeah. Other standouts, you've got Enrico Colatone playing Felix Faust. I like him. He was on Veronica Mars. He was on Just Shoot Me, a sitcom from the 90s. He's been on a bunch of stuff. He was in a bit of Person of Interest. I like him as an actor, though. Jeremy Davies pops up. Rosario Dawson is Wonder Woman, who has a very small role in it, so it's very easy payday for her, I imagine.
I think this is one of those where she's been Wonder Woman in the latest slate of DC films in general, so they just kind of pull her in contracted, I imagine.
Yeah, probably. Probably the same with some of the other Justice Leaguers. I will say Jerry O'Connell as Superman's a bit off.
He's done a few films, is it? And it's never quite right, is it?
Nah, I don't like. And
do you know who I do surprisingly like? Jason O'Mara as Batman. I think it's pretty solid.
That's okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's no Conroy, don't get me wrong.
I think that's
solid.
That's the problem with anyone playing Batman, though. Or same with Joker. If someone's playing Joker, you're like, it's not Conroy and Hamill.
It's not but it's solid. It's better than Superman.
Sure. I just want to complain a bit about the designs, just the suits. I just because ever since they got to the point in the animated movies where they did Flashpoint.
Yeah,
ever
and then we
since
got to the New 52 era with, I think, Justice League War was the first one.
Yeah, that adapted the Justice League storyline from the New 52. I don't like those designs that much in the comics. I dislike them even less. I'll dislike them even more here.
Yeah, I mean, Superman's is probably the worst offense for me.
His collar is just...
Yeah, it's so prominent.
Batman's chin guard really annoys me as well. Over the chin.
I'm alright on Wonder Woman's, though.
See, I hate Wonder Woman's
I
outfit.
think it could do with a bit of yellow, don't get me wrong, but overall, I don't mind it.
It feels like they took... I mean, I know it's not exactly the most covering outfit in the first place, but it feels like they looked at the Wonder Woman outfit and goes, how can we turn that into a one-piece swimsuit? And that's what she's wearing in this. I don't like it. I don't like that it's... Okay. It's a taste thing, but I don't...
Yeah, but we're agreeing on the other ones, at least.
Yeah, so that bugs me. But yeah, how did we like the actual movie? I thought it was okay.
I quite liked it, personally. It's certainly not up there with the best of the DC animated films, but I think it's a solid entry in the latest line.
I think the problem I've had with I didn't see all the ones from last year, and I've been a little bit less enthusiastic with keeping up with them in the last couple of years, and I think it's because they started to feel all the same in the sense that they all have the same animation style, which I don't particularly like.
I've all got the same director.
That's also true. Jay Olivia is the one who's been directing a lot of these. And I don't particularly like the animation style, and it's because it was never quite the old school animated series. That was the one thing that I did like about The Killing Joke, is it looked like the old animated series, and I was quite happy about that. I had bigger complaints about a lot of other things in that movie.
Yeah.
But
don't go there.
The look I liked, and it was hit and miss before, but I still have this issue with the look of it. And the other thing I have that's generally been a problem for the last few that I've seen is they all feel like they're all 75 minutes long, and they all have too much plot in those 75 minutes. I really wish a lot of it had a bit more room to breathe.
No, I agree. On the animation, I like it when it's in action. Like the fight scenes, I think always look pretty good. But it's whenever they're standing around talking, it feels quite stilted. Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah, standing around talking looks much worse.
Yeah. As for the plot, definitely. I mean, there's just one thing too many in every single one of these.
I'd argue about three things. Because we were talking just before we started recording that we were just sort of recapping the plots in our heads just to make sure it was all right for talking about it. And we were like, oh man, there was too much in this because we couldn't remember the order of events because it went back and forth so much between multiple things. And I'm like, I shouldn't have this problem with a 75-minute thing.
No, you shouldn't.
That should be much easier to recall the sequence of events, and it isn't. And that's kind of an issue. So what I'm trying to say, though, talking about all this, is that it all just kind of bundles up to me where I really like some of the earlier ones. I love Dark Knight Returns. I loved Under the Red Hood. Wonder Woman standalone was quite good.
Oh, that was great, yeah.
There was a few good ones, but recently it feels like I've just felt kind of indifferent towards them. Like, they're not terrible by any means. They're just... do you know what it feels like? This goes back again to going through too many plot points. It feels like they've got a list of things to check off, and they're going through,
does.
checking off, oh, we did that scene, we did the scene with the meat swamp thing, we did the scene where we did this, and I just feel like it's going through the motions, and I don't really get invested.
I get that. I think I definitely like this a bit more than you, but it is a problem that, in general, this line is beginning to feel formulaic. Where this is happening a lot. Like, last year was a bit different because we only really had one of this line. Was it Son of Batman or Batman versus Robin?
I think it was V's Robin, yeah.
Yeah, one of those. The latest one of them. That was the only one in this line, and it was better than the previous one, but it was still not great. And then you had Killing Joke, which was bad for its own reasons. But then you also had Batman Return of the Cape Crusader, which was really great because it was nothing like any of these. It didn't have the same problems at all.
Yeah, so I'm kind of in a different place with it. I mean, as a Justice League Dark movie, as it comes to introducing the various members, Zatanna was fine. Deadman. Actually, I have a problem with Deadman's voice actor.
I do as well. Actually, I was just about to get onto. You just reminded me as you said it. It's too corny. I don't know the word.
He's got like a thick accent, and it's not the accent I would expect Deadman to have. I don't know what I thought Deadman's accent would be, but it definitely wasn't this.
I agree.
Because as soon as he started talking, he sounded too jokey, and
that's what I meant with corny. It's kind of.
It didn't feel like Deadman. Because I feel like when I read a comic with Deadman in it, it feels like the words have weight to them. You know, it's very...
like, he makes these jokes, but it comes from a place where he is dead, so...
Yeah, it feels like it's coming from a sort of dark place where he's in a really sort of... melancholy. It feels melancholic. Yeah. And none of that is here in the movie. It just feels like he's cracking these little jokes, and he's got this attitude.
It's definitely the worst casting part of this film.
I agree with that, yeah.
Because I actually like all the rest of the cast. I think they do varying jobs from like fine to very good. Yeah. But his is not great at all.
Yeah, so what's the plot actually? We've not really talked about the plot.
We haven't, no.
So basically, the movie starts with the regular Justice League, and we see these various events throughout the world. One in Metropolis, one in Gotham.
Metropolis, Washington, D.C.
That was the other one, yeah. And it's basically all these regular people are starting to see demons, and it's making them act out. But in reality, it's actually just other regular people. So it's making all these people commit all these really violent crimes where they're trying to like kill just random other people.
Some of them are actually impressively shocking. There's the one with Superman when he goes to the shed.
Oh yeah, that's a really dark moment.
Yeah,
really
dark. It starts with Wonder Woman's one, and the woman's in a car and she just sees everyone's demons, so she's just mowing them down in a car. And that's pretty dark as it is, because it is just all these regular people.
But that can still be comical.
Yeah.
Because it is just mowing people down. There's a comical element you can get out of that in the right context. Whereas Superman's, there is no way you make what he sees when you open that barn door.
No, because it starts with the guy in his family, like in his house, and he thinks they're demons, and Superman comes in, stops him, and then it takes a turn for, oh, okay, that got dark.
Reminds me a little bit of the plot of a recent hit film, The Bye-Bye Man.
I haven't seen it, but I can't imagine what you could be referencing there.
It was not good. Me and Tim reviewed it on Screams After Midnight, and it was... I gave it a 1 out of 10. I'll say that much.
Yeah. For everything you've complained-ish about this film, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a 1 out of 10.
No, it's not. No. It is, the biggest crime this film commits is kind of what I said, but the ultimate feeling is it's just kind of in the middle. It's kind of just feels mundane. It's...
Yeah, kind of lean into mediocrity.
Goes through the motions, but never really has any sparks of brilliance. Never does anything offensively bad, but never does anything exciting. Really.
I think that's fair. Like I did enjoy it more because obviously I'm big on the magic side of DC in general. So it was nice for just seeing some of these things. I really like the action. Etrigan in particular, I thought was a lot of fun.
I like seeing Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing was cool when he popped up.
Definitely. But so we were going through the plot. Yeah, we started and we got like the first scene in.
so basically, the Justice League are all like, this might be magic. We don't know how to deal with this. And Batman's like, how about magic? That's flesh and blood, stupid people. I'm Batman. Yeah, I can figure anything out. But then Deadman sends him a message And by sends a message, I mean Deadman's invisible to most people, so if he writes something on the wall, it just looks like something's been written on the wall.
Yeah.
And he sends a message to Batman, which sets us down the path, and he meets Zatanna, which leads him to Constantine, and they end up forming kind of a makeshift team.
Yes.
To go to deal with this ongoing, and it's kind of just a mystery. They try to investigate who it is. They question some people. It leads them to some different other people, different items. It goes back and forth. There's a twist as to who the bad people really are, and it ends up in a big fight in the middle of a street, of course.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite bits is actually there's a flashback to kind of what started all this with Jason Blood and Etrigan, back how that started, and it felt like it was leaning into the Demon Knight series. I don't know if you read that.
No.
From start of the New 52, and it's very good, and it made me want a Demon Knights film, because that's kind of the feeling I was getting in that scene. I was like, oh yeah, this is what I want.
I feel like this is all you're ever going to get of it.
Probably, because it didn't even sell very well when it was just a comic, let alone being as a film.
Plus, I'm pretty sure if they did, they'd have to make it Etrigan or Demon Knight and Batman, just because.
Yeah, but you can't put Batman in it. Like, even they can't find a way to get Batman in that.
Time travel, it's fine.
Shut up. Don't give them ideas.
Dear. Well, it's funny though. It was the New 52 Justice League, as I've mentioned, with all the outfits and whatnot. But it was John Stewart Green Lantern instead of Hal.
Weird.
Yeah, it was like it's like New 52, but we're going to take just this one element from the animated series.
There was a few actually, because in the New 52 films, I'm pretty sure they'd established the Watchtower satellite.
Yeah, and it was the Hall of Justice.
It was the Hall of Justice, yeah. So there's a few things where they've just tweaked the line a little bit.
And they referenced Shazam at one point. Does Shazam pop up?
Shazam's, yeah, because in Justice League War, he replaced Aquaman. Aquaman never showed up till Throne of Atlantis.
Ah, that's right. Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah, so Shazam has been around.
Oh, that's right.
They really bastardized that a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess they did. Oh dear. Yeah. What else you want to talk about? I don't know.
Oh boy, no, I thought it was fun. I had fun with this. I liked seeing the characters play off each other. I think the dialogue's mostly on point. I mean, I don't know if you had any problems with the dialogue.
Not overly. There's a couple of funny moments with Batman where he just kind of grunts because he's like, just magic. I hate magic. You know, this is.
It's kind of you, isn't it?
It kind of is, but it's very rare that Batman's the conduit for the viewer to experience everything. But Batman very much was my conduit in this.
It is rare.
So. Yeah.
But I genuinely thought the banter was pretty good, and it's kind of what I expect when you have these characters around. So it's as a fan, it's hard to complain those things. But then I don't know how much you get out of that if you don't already care about them.
Yeah, I don't think the movie itself does anything to make you care.
It probably doesn't, which is probably its biggest crime overall. That this should be a way to make people care, especially if they still ever want to do that live action Justice League Dark film, which is probably never going to happen.
It's like I say, it's going through the motion, so it never takes the time to actually make us engage with what's going on. It just keeps going. It just keeps going.
Yeah, you get like references to Constantine and Zatanna's relationship, but you never get to see any of it. Not until like right at the end, maybe.
Yeah.
And it's just like you could really have done with some of this earlier on. Cut out one of these side adventures to somewhere and just focus on showing us some of these relationships a bit more like theirs, because that could have been the crux of the film quite easily, but it's just not. Yeah,
because at one point they go off to Felix Faust and they have a big fight there, and that lasts a good 5-10 minutes, whatever it is. And I'm like, you could have written around this and not had this whole tangent.
It's like there's good moments in it, like especially with Zatanna.
Oh yeah, there's good moments in those scenes, but it just feels like you've crammed to, instead of like taking time to actually build character scenes, you've just kept adding more plot.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we need another fight before we get to the big fight at the end.
And I guess, I mean, I'd argue maybe that comes from the fact that they want this to appeal to kids, but it is a PG-13. They do have like shit in it and stuff.
Plenty of swearing.
Yeah, so it's not like they are saying, oh, this is specifically for kids, and they've got ADD, we have to keep things moving. So I think it does this weird thing where parents will see it as unsuitable for their younger kids, but for adults, it's kind of lacking in terms of
Depth.
and story.
I feel like that's maybe a problem they've got with their whole animated line right now, because for the most part they are hitting that same kind of age range, right? Where they're trying to be mature, but they're not deep enough for adults to really enjoy.
They're trying to please everyone, and as a result, they're pleasing no one.
Yeah.
That sounds really extreme, but I do kind of mean that in a sort of lukewarm way.
Yeah, like it's always, everyone will find it fine, but it's rare you'll get someone who loves it.
And ultimately,
which is why, interestingly, last year Killing Joke and Return of the Cape Crusader stand out, because they do something different. Killing Joke, don't get me wrong, has its problems, but I can see why people would like it.
Yeah,
because it doesn't suffer these same problems of diluting it and making it for everyone.
It doesn't. I mean, Killing Joke, I have a lot of issues with Killing Joke, but it's not the same problems that I have with this and the other recent ones. Yeah. It's different problems. It's
the same with Return of the Cape Crusaders, where it knows its audience and it does exactly what it has to please that audience. And I'm in that audience, Peter's probably not. But that's okay. And whereas these are just trying to get everyone, and it is a problem that is dragging them all down as a result.
And as a result, I think a lot of the recent ones have been forgettable, and I would describe this as forgettable. I feel like I'm already struggling to remember some of the plot points.
No, I agree. I'm not arguing that at all. It's mainly some character banter and some cool-looking action scenes that I enjoyed from this the most.
It's funny, I think Justice League War and Flashpoint Paradox and Throne of Atlantis, I think they were all really forgettable as well. The only reason why I remember them better is because I also read the comic that they were based on, so I already had the knowledge there, for the most part. But the actual movies on their own are quite forgettable. I can't remember really what they changed, and if I'd only seen those, I'd probably
not remember them too much.
Not remember them that well.
Yeah, I get that. But those earlier ones, like I think Wonder Woman's the prime example, because it wasn't based on anything. It's not an adaptation. It was an original story.
It was their own version of her origin.
Yeah,
basically. And
it was fantastic.
That was good. Like I say, Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2 were good. I liked Under the Red Hood. That was good.
I just wish they'd get back to knowing what their audience is and going for that, rather than this watered down pleasing everyone type situation.
Yeah, and it feels like they've been in there for a while, a couple of years now.
Yeah, I think they need to shake things up at the head, because obviously this Jay Olivia's doing all of them, and he needs to maybe be moved off, because I think he's been doing them since maybe Justice League War was him.
Yeah, I think the last one that was, I can't remember the order they came out in, honestly, but I think the last one that was really good might have been Superman versus the Elite, and that was a while ago.
That was a while ago. I really liked Justice League vs Teen Titans. That was last year, actually. I forgot about it, but
I've not seen that one. So
that was, it says versus, but it's one of those where they're selling it as a versus, but it's not. It's basically a Teen Titans movie, and it's a lot of fun. Especially when you've got Damian thrown into the Teen Titans.
This is really irking me. This is another example of, it's a Teen Titans movie, but we don't trust that name to sell it, so we have to put Justice League on the front of it. Just like putting Batman in this.
Honestly, that's probably my biggest problem with that film, that they just can't let it be its own film. They have to shoehorn everything else in.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure this film would have been better without Batman and the other League stuff at the start, don't get me wrong, because it would still have all the other same problems.
Nah, honestly, I like the introduction is probably some of my favourite stuff. Is like all the League being like, we don't know how to deal with this. We need magic characters.
And to his credit, they never used Batman as, Batman's going to have to just save the day.
Oh no, he was
he was helpful at times, but no more than anyone else was.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, important in their film, that they got the showcase, at least for most of it.
Oh, do you want to do spoilers? Do you want to talk about plot points?
Can do if you want. If you got stuff you want to say.
I don't, honestly. So it's up to you. If you've got
if you've got nothing in particular, like I said, I've covered most of it. It's just little bits I enjoyed that I guess are spoilery, but not.
I think that's kind of indicative of the problem, is that I'm not into it enough to actually want to talk about the later plot points.
Yeah.
Because nothing made me go, that was so good, I need to talk about this happening, because it was...
it's like the way it ends Jason Blood and Etrigan storyline, I really like how that ends, and I thought the ending scene with that was quite touching. But other than that, like I can do that without going into spoilers too much, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like just like that. But I did like that a lot.
And it ends with, like, yeah, we could have more Justice League Dark movies down the road.
And I feel like they'd be better. Like, I feel like now that because we spend a good half of this movie just kind of getting the team together. And
Oh yeah, there's no doubt the villain is weak.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think that's fair to say. Is the villain's pretty damn weak.
Yeah, but like I said, we spent so long just getting the team together that you don't really get a team movie. You get half a team movie. So maybe if there was a second one where the team's formed, they can just get into action and deal with the problem. It doesn't have to set all that up from the start. It might be a bit better.
Maybe.
Just whether or not this will sell enough to warrant a second.
Yeah, I'm lukewarm. Is basically my summing up is I'm lukewarm. I think it's kind of, it's like scraping a 6 out of 10, kind of.
I'd probably give it a 7, just because I have more attachment to these characters than you do in general.
Yeah, so I'm very middling on it, which annoyingly makes it harder to talk about because I'm not passionate about any of it, either in a positive or a negative way. It's just kind of, it exists, and
it's one of those where I'm just not enthused for the DC line of animated films at the minute. But I'm going to keep watching them just out of habit more than anything, because I watch all of them.
Yeah, it's a shame, because with the first few years of them doing this, I was really excited about them all.
Yeah, and I really want to be excited. And I know they have a sequel to Cape Crusaders coming, I think, next year. And I'm looking forward to that a lot. But their actual main line, I'm at the point where I'm not even sure what's coming next.
Yeah, I used to know. I used to know everything.
I used to know. They used to, even for a long time, they had the little post-credits scene to tell you, oh, here's a little sneak of which one's coming next. And that wasn't here. Which is strange.
Oh, the Suicide Squad. It was called Batman Assault on Arkham.
That was good.
But that was not bad. Much better than the actual Suicide Squad movie that came out.
But also, that was not part of this line, was it? Because that was technically, like, that wasn't part of this universe. That was part of the.
It's still part of the line, though.
No, that was technically part of the Arkham games universe.
It doesn't matter what universe. A lot of them, like All-Star Superman's not part of the universe, but it's still part of the line.
Yeah, all right.
It's still.
I feel like there is a differentiation since we hit Justice League War, and these are all like continuity with each other. Whereas there's the odd ones that have been.
I get what you're saying, but I would still count Killing Joke as part of the line. It's still
right. Okay.
It's still the animated DC line.
Tell you what, the last truly great one was actually.
What?
Justice League Gods and Monsters. I don't know if you saw that one.
I have not.
I think that was 2 years ago now, maybe 3.
I think that was the first one that I didn't see. That's when I stopped.
That was the one where they got Bruce Timm back, and he did this alternate universe take of stuff, and it was very different, but it was really good.
After Killing Joke, I don't know if I want to trust him anymore, which hurts to say because that man.
He built up so much goodwill over so many years.
Decades, since my childhood.
Yeah.
And after Killing Joke,
threw it all away with what, 75 minutes?
Arguably
threw it away in 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh dear. But there we go. I think that's all I would really want to get into.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Justice League Dark. I wouldn't say. I mean, it's only 75 minutes, so it's not like you're going to regret your time with it. But it is pretty forgettable.
It is, and maybe we'll be back when the next one comes out in 3 or 4 months, and we won't hate it quite. Well, we won't hate it, but we might be a bit more on board with it.
See, my worry is that in 3 or 4 months the next one will come out, and we'll feel just as lukewarm. Because half of this discussion is about how this animated line is not as good as it used to be. We can't have that discussion again.
No, we cannot.
So it'll be a much shorter
It works
conversation.
on this one where we haven't really done any of these.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
Kind of want to watch some of the older ones as a palate cleanser, though, now.
Maybe. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. Let us know what you thought of Justice League Dark if you've seen it in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot. Also, keep a note, me and Connor are doing older movie reviews now on the sister show to this, which is 121 in Flux. The first one just went up this week, so check that out. It was the original Godzilla, if you're into old movies. But no, thanks very much for watching, guys. We will see you next time.